So by repeating a shape and then putting it in different locations, right? Repetition, so there's multiples, right? And then the variety in each one of these is that they're in a different location, right? So I can stretch space with shape, right? That makes form as I stretch space with shape. So these are perfectly leather hard. They've passed that halfway test. They're somewhat rigid, but they are still soft enough to put together. You notice that I've already gone over this seam once with some slip. Now this will not work if the clay's bone dry. It's got to be leather hard. So if you've never had a pet before, this clay's got to start to become your pet if you're going to get to know it. You got to spend some time with it, figure out when operations are proper. Again, we're working at that, right? It's leather hard. See, I can hold that from there and it's not drooping. So I've got all these sides slipped up really, really nice, right? Now I have to come in here and I have to score these beveled edges. And what these beveled edges do is they give us more space for connection, and they're gonna make for a cleaner edge. When you don't have beveled edges, the edge isn't an edge, it's two edges. So this is the best way to do it. And I'm always going to show you the best way that I know how to do something. Doesn't mean it's always the easiest way, but that's how it's going to be. Notice, am I scoring really wimpy or am I really digging into this sucker? Right, I'm digging into all these edges really nice. You can see this wad of clay that's building up on my fork. Some of that is slip, some of that is the clay that I'm removing, but that could probably be worked right into slip. All right, so there we have that. Now I can start what? I can start building the Eames house. Although the Eames house was just a rectangle, this is just like the Eames house. The Eames house, they made a shape and then they moved those trusses through time, right? Through space. They put them at a different location, which is a different time, right? When you move something, it's in a different spot. It's at a different time. And you can see, look, my shapes aren't perfect. They've kind of moved around, but because this clay is still malleable, I can kind of get it where it needs to be. Now I'm going to come up these edges and kind of gently, very gently, see I'm making this right angle between my fingers, very gently going to kind of push all these areas together. The other thing that can be nice is using a flatter tool to just kind of bang these together. But sometimes just making that right angle between your thumb and your forefinger and going up these seams can make this happen pretty nicely. The other thing is they're going to have a tendency to want to kind of bow in. So pushing all the shapes or sides out a little bit is often very nice. All right, so that's kind of step one of putting it together. Now, as it is like this, it's definitely a work in the round. It can be viewed from all sides. It might not encourage you to look at it from all sides, but if I were to clean this whole thing up and mount it on the wall and do some sort of study on the inside, then it's kind of more one-sided. From the side, you can't really see it. You're going to come around and maybe there's something going on in here. Cubes can be easily left open on one side and then hung on the wall. I can cut that beveled edge to be square if that's my intention. Okay, so that's kind of part one of putting together this cube. Okay.